Welcome to this week's Hymn of the Week. This week we have ELW 336, Lamb of God, text and music by Twila Paris. A few years ago, I attended a Twila Paris concert. I listened to Twila Paris a lot growing up. Definitely have a high respect for her offerings of music for the kingdom of Christ. And I never got to hear her perform or even sing or present this song live. But I certainly know the song, and I am very happy that it's part of the Evangelical Lutheran Worship Hymnal. Often these songs, I think, get misinterpreted a bit, in that they're very me-focused, that there's not too much of a melody, or they're just simply different. I think what's great about this is it's communal. We have this D, this lower D, that repeats maybe 12, 13 times. Doesn't go higher than a D. But what's nice about that is not so much that it's boring, because I don't think it's boring at all. Instead, I think that by repeating it, we have a tonal center. We know where we're going. It's easier for us as a congregation or even as a singer to know where our voice is going to sit. And so we're more prone to sing. So I find that very advantageous. Of course, a lot of times we get a solo feel with some of these melodies. But this one is certainly more communal in nature. There's no doubt about it. Looking at the text, it's actually, we talked about this term before in Hymns of the Week, it's a trope. So we're adding existing material to an original chant. Pretty much every week, I play the Agnus Dei, which is Lamb of God, you take away the sin of the world, have mercy on us. It's the first time. Then we have Lamb of God, you take away the sin of the world, have mercy on us. Second time. And then Lamb of God, you take away the sin of the world, grant us peace. So we have sort of a textual trope in here. Because we have to start off, Lamb of God, you take away the sin of the world. Here doesn't really say that officially you take away the sin of the world. It says that God gave his life, that he walked upon the earth and became a Lamb of God. He sacrificed himself. He was laughed and scorned at and he died, but he still, took away the sin of the world. And it also adds the understanding that Jesus was without sin. Your only son, no sin to hide. And your only son adds to that understanding of Lamb of God. Imagine giving up your only child and giving them up because they would live. I mean, I think that as a father, that certainly drives home to me really clearly. That concept rings clear. So, but that's what's great about this hymn, or even song here, is that it does that. It furthers some of this understanding. So in this case, the trope is a welcome addition, in my opinion, to the hymnal. So let's look at one other spot. How about have mercy on us? That could be phrased in many different ways in this song. But I want to focus on this, or guide us to this part. Oh, wash me in your precious blood. Have mercy on us, God. Wash us in your blood. I mean, what a great, another way of stating that. A modern day trope. And then, of course, how about grant us peace? Let's look at verse 3 here. I was so lost I should have died, but you have brought me to your side to be led by your staff and rod, and to be called a Lamb of God. So peace ultimately comes through Christ. But here's what's very interesting. But you have brought me to your side to be led by your staff and rod. This puts a little spin on it in saying that God being in control, God is our guide, I'm going to say is probably going to bring us peace. But God leads by staff and rod. So occasionally there's going to be a gentle guiding, and at times, excuse me for a moment, you're going to have kind of like a whack to knock us into place. So it's a really neat way of spinning this text and furthering the understanding, which is why it's so necessary today to reinterpret at times or restate the texts of the ordinary liturgy, even sometimes the proper. But here, I think it's very important. And of course, the ELW ties it more to Holy Week and Lent. I like to play this very simply. One of the great things about Twila Paris's music is she uses simple chords. but she does it in a way that it's very colorful. So we have a G major 7th, and then an A2. That's not a steak sauce. I know, bad joke. But let me talk about that just for a quick second. The A2, you have the regular chord. I'm just going to add the 2nd in. Notice the richness of that following the G major 7. And then going to this one. So beautiful chords. And if you're playing this as an organist, I would say try to let it breathe. Let it live. Try to not make it so metered, because it does need that freedom that Twyla usually sings it with, because yes, she constructed the song, and it is very singable for a congregation, but it needs to have that breathing room. So I'm going to try to incorporate that, but very, very carefully, because I know that I'm going to have people reading out the hymnal. So here we go, Lamb of God. Like I said, we're going to keep it very simple registration. This is one of those songs and hymns that I really like to have the celeste on. The celeste knocking the pitch off a bit, knocking it sharp. Because I think it's important to remember how we have to lean on God. And that washing, when God washes us in His precious blood, is a process. And it does take some commitment as a believer and some perseverance sometimes as a believer. So I really like that color of the organ and to bring that out. So that's why I selected it that way. I hope it is a meaningful song to you, and thank you for listening to Hymn of the Week.